welcome back to another Access 72 video, and in today's video I'm back with another interview, and I'm here with Johnny Clark for Top Tier Boxing. Johnny, how are we doing?
I'm very good, Alex. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thank you very much for coming on the channel.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure, mate. Glad to be on.
Lovely stuff. Okay, so we'll just go straight into it. So, I'm going to start off with the question, what made you start Top Tier Boxing?
Yeah, no problem. So, a lot of my friends were involved in boxing, and obviously I'm going to shows, and anything I do in life, I feel like, you know, if I watch football, I wanted to be a footballer. If I went to a party, I wanted to be the DJ. And when I went to the boxing, I can't box. I don't like running. I don't like dieting. So I thought about, you know, I met my friend Will Jones, and I said, what can I do? And he said, well, come and meet Lee Eaton and have a look about being a manager. So I went and met them, and they talked about me being a whip, because you need a license for 3 years before you can become a manager. And I was like, I'm definitely not the type of person to be a whip. I've been running my own companies now for 6 years, 7 years. I don't really like to be told what to do. So I looked into it, and I thought, you know what? Like, the shows I've been going to, I know I could do a little bit better than what they're doing. And that's not me talking down to the promoters, or I just knew that I could up the levels, because I've got a good taste, a good eye, and I felt I can bring something to the table here. And yeah, and I like being the number one. I don't like being a number two in a company. So I jumped on with Lee Eaton at Let's Go and helped him manage a few boxers and, you know, build his brand a little bit more. But I said I want to be number one, and the way I could do it was by being a promoter. So I opened Top Tier. I done all my interviews, my revision. It was a crazy time. I'm not going to lie, it was probably the hardest thing I've had to do and pass. So it was an achievement, me getting my license, because what was good was the kids got to see me revise every night, every night and every day. Like, they probably know more about boxing than most people there. But like, my wife was testing me, so I'd learn 3 pages. I'd write the 3 pages down, hand them to my wife, and my wife would grill me on them 3 pages every night. And that's how we got through it. And then I went to my interview, and it was weird because it's normally my wife in bed interviewing me, but it was 3 men. And and I think my personality and my knowledge in the end got me through it. And I basically, being the understudy of Lee Eaton at the time, helped me massively. I was just going shows, watching everyone, like whips, who I'd like as my whip, because I believe with a name like Top Tier, without being big-headed, I knew I had to come and be top tier. So I wanted the best whips, you know, the best fights, the best ring. Everything had to be the best, and that's how you end up being the best. Yeah, that's the quick story of how I got in.
No, definitely, no. And I mean, so far, I mean, of course, things are going amazingly with Top Tier. And so, just to put up a number, how many events have you managed to do so far?
One event. Okay. Yeah, one event solely by myself. And the next event is on the 17th of June. Then I've got the 2nd of September and the 2nd of December. But I knew I had to come out with a bang and make a statement. So we called the first show The Statement. And I know I made a statement there, because look, even yourself, you want to interview me today off one event. That's crazy. And then the hype around the show, now for this one, mate, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I've got no tickets to sell to my friends. All the boxes are taken. Whereas the last one, I had a couple left over. There's nothing left to sell. So yeah, everything's moving in the right direction and on track to the goals what I set to do. Yeah,
I mean, I saw the kind of Instagram caption which you kind of run off, I suppose, that kind of wanting to make it a pay-per-view feel. And so do you feel like you're always accomplishing that? Yeah,
so the way I was, Let's Go's slogan is fighters first. And so in any business I've done, basically you copy your old boss, but you take the bits that you like, get rid of the bits you don't like, improve in the areas that some are weak in. So I went to every boxing show for about 2-3 years, just taking it all in and thinking, what can I do better? And then you see the promo videos that I just released for the Southern Area and the English title. Some of them boxers, they haven't boxed on Sky Sports or BT Sports or DAZN, and so they never had really the love. They haven't had the love or the exposure or a video done on them. They've just been given tickets and told to go and sell them. So I thought, let me show them love. Let me build them up. Let me give them something where they could help them sell their tickets, show their family the videos. And that's just what we tried to achieve. And I know they feel like PPV stars because they've been given the love that they deserve. Because that Southern Area, for Jack Martin, he said, this is my world title. So he's never going to, in his eyes, he's never going to go above it. But if he wins this, he could probably get a shot at the English. So it's not his world title. But I will treat it like it's his world title. So now he's got a lovely video for 5 minutes long that he can show his kids when he's older because they're in it, and it's a nice memory to have from boxing. And that was the main goal, was to give boxers a night to remember. Win, lose or draw, I want them to have a night to remember, to look back on and say, yeah, I know John Clark. I was actually on one of his shows and, yeah, it was the best night. I might have lost, but he said, we had this, look at this, I got that from it. At the end of the night, every boxer, they ring me up, can I have my photos? I'm like, I've made everyone like a USB stick and I'll send it to you, or I'll give them a file. So they're all in there, So we thought of everything. We thought of everything just to make their night and make them feel a little bit special. If they feel like that, that means I get a higher level of boxers on my show, and that means my company grows. So in any business I've done, I've treated from the cleaner to the best salesman all the same, and then I've noticed the levels have risen.
No, that's great to see that you do have that much love for your fighters. I mean, some promotions aren't always like that, but I mean, how many fighters do you have in the top tier kind of stable, I suppose, at the moment?
No, well, to be fair, I'm trying to keep it different because this is another observation that I had. I went to 2 shows and it was the same boxers on each show, and I looked and I thought, it's okay because you follow their story a bit more, but it was very repetitive nights and outcomes. So I was like, I don't want too many of the same boxers on my show because it looks like the same night, just with a different flyer, doesn't it? So I'm trying to keep it fresh, and the more different boxers I have on my show, the more different areas that I get on my show. When we expand next year, I can creep into their territories, and bring more boxers from their gyms onto the show. So the more different faces you see fighting, the more different faces you'll see in the crowd. So yeah, I'm just trying to build a brand. I didn't really want to sign people to promotion deals and keep it, 4 or 5 boxers the same one. Didn't want that. But obviously Ryan Maycock won my final on the last show because I had a knockout tournament. So he obviously stayed in and he got a shot at the Southern Area. And then 2 opponents he beat was meant to fight on this show, but Angelo's just pulled out. So it's just Kevin. And then I was going to have Ozzy Osbourne because he was fight of the night, but he took a fight that was this weekend. So it was a little bit too close to my show. And where I put a lot of time, effort and money in promoting them, I couldn't afford for anything to go wrong. But unfortunately, he just pulled out of his fight. So I might look into bring him on this show, but it depends whether we can find an opponent for another boxer yet.
Okay. And I mean, so just to speak about this upcoming show, overall, how's preparations been going for it?
Well, I'm probably the most organised promoter you've ever met. So on my side, it's been really good. What we do is, the business plan is we set a media day. So we get head-to-head interviews, single interviews, then we collab with them. So they get an interview with Ali Drew. Then we go and film promo videos. So anyone fighting in a 50-50, want to give back to them because them taking a 50-50 fight and possibly losing their winning record or they're taking their first loss, they need to have a reason to give that to me. So I give them a promo video, a tracksuit to train in, wear, and try and pump them up a little bit for their followers with a lot of love online. So then we go from that to that, just promoting them, helping them sell their tickets. And so far, so good. But like I said, we had 2 opponents that dropped out, one with an injury, one with personal problems. So we're looking to replace them today. Then if not, then the whole fight gets replaced because I've got people queuing up to get on the show.
Yeah.
But I'm loyal, and I know these have been in camp. One's been abroad training, so he don't want to fight a journeyman either. So, which is what I want to hear. Yeah. So we're trying hard to get him to 50-50, but it's hard to get him with this short notice because he's a good fighter. But we've been trying this whole time. So, yeah, that's where we're at. But on top of it, and yeah, so far there's actually 10 fights signed, ready to go, and it's just the last 2 we're sorted.
Okay, so. Good to hear. I mean, I like that sound of 50-50 fights. I mean, of course, you see in boxing at the moment, a lot of 50-50 fights are hard to make, and so how important is it to you to have them 50-50 matchups?
No, definitely, because the thing about me is I'm putting on a show. I'm not putting on a fight, I'm putting on a show. Yeah. So what would make you want to come to my show? What would make you want to one day pay a channel to watch my show? What would make you want to buy a ticket to watch my shows? Not just because one fight's good, or not 2 fights good, then you might as well get there at 9:30 at night and watch the last 2. So I needed to make sure that the whole card's good, and by the looks of it, we've got 1, 2 journeymen on the show so far. 3. It'll be a total of 3 journeymen out of 12 fights. Wow. Now, there's not many people that get that at their shows, and the reason we're getting that is because the production and how the first show went. We made that statement. And the next show, September, is done already with all 50-50s. Wow. Obviously, something can change along them. Something really good can happen on this show where they have to come on my next. But yeah, what we're aiming for is I do want to build boxers with the journeyman fights. But if I don't have to, then I don't want to. But if I do, I'd rather than be the first and second fight. And from there on, you're going to see good fights. That's the business model. Because, listen, it is a business, and I do need to pick up a broadcaster. Sponsors want to be happy. Yeah. And so far, so good. Everyone's happy.
Good to hear. And so just to speak about a couple of the fights, obviously I'd imagine you can't give any predictions or anything like that, but just your thoughts on a couple of the fights. There's 2 kind of big ones which that are kind of reaching out to me, that being the first one being Martin versus Maycock. You kind of spoke about that already, but how are your thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, I think it's a great matchup because what I do is as well, I visit their gyms. So I don't just get a boxer, sign him up, give him his tickets. I go there, I feel him and how he's training, how he's preparing. I talk to him through the whole fights, his whole camp, visit his gym a couple of times, film the promos with them. And when I sat down and watched them train, they're identical. Ryan's got a bit of power, and I didn't believe Jack did. And then I see Jack on the pads, and I was like, wow, his pressure and his power is unbelievable. And he's called the Engine for a reason. But it's the same as Ryan. The only thing that I would swing in any favour would be that Martin has the belt and Martin has the experience of the longer round. Just the only way I could prediction would be, stamina. But you see Ryan, he's up at 6 a.m. training clients. He has a half-hour break. He goes and runs 5K. Wow. It's crazy. Yeah. But I watch them. They inspire me, So, yeah, I would say I'll never pick, but I think it could come down to fitness. Yeah. And they're both the fittest in the gym. So, be a good fight.
Of course. And so another one which is kind of just looking out for me at the moment is Perkis versus Lane. Of course, Perkis wanting to defend his English title versus a tough opposition who's been and fought at a high level in Ash Lane.
Yeah, very, very, very tough opponent. I know Jordan personally. I actually lived next door to him for a couple of years. So it's a lovely story. I thought, you don't think that Perkis would take an easy fight. And he's really took a harder fight, I believe, than when he won the title. So fair play to him. It is a 50-50, and I am going to sit on the fence for this one because I don't want to look too biased. May the best man win, but it is a very, very tough fight for both as well because, listen, I know Jordan and I know how good of a boxer he is. But, yeah, it's a really, really tough fight. And it's one that I can't wait to watch. So and it's on my show, so it's a bonus. So I'll be there.
Yes, of course. And so, just kind of moving a bit more to the possible future of top tier boxing, how big do you think this promotion can get?
Very big. I think, like, you've seen the promo videos. No one's doing that in the small hall at the moment.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing it now with the budget that I'm doing it with, when I get a bit more behind me, a couple more shows with money in the kitty to spend, imagine the levels I'll be reaching then. I do believe like this one will be streamed on BBTV for free. Okay, but I do believe one day I'll be getting a broadcaster on board. I see people broadcasting shows, they're not going to have that many 50-50s on it, and they're not going to have the build-up that I bring.
Yeah.
So that I do honestly think that, not big hall, I don't think big hall, but I see within, I say I'm a medium hall show, I don't think I'm small, but I do believe we'll be top of the pile and knocking on the big boys' doors. Because that's what it is. There's boxers that you see in my shows. They should be on Sky TV, but they might not sell enough tickets. They might not be that character that everyone wants to see beat up or win. They might not have that little niche what the market wants. Yeah. But then you come to my show, you get the same love. You get the same walkout. You get the big LED screens. You're going to get the love. So I'll be the step down. And that's where I knew the gap was in the market. And I could conquer. And yeah, so I'd quite happily be sat at that pile for a couple more years because I'm still learning. Interviews, putting on events, the rules, regulations, I know, but you still learn and pick things up. But for me, yeah, I do think we'll be up there, but I'm very happy with how it's going.
Of course. And so just a kind of last, only a couple more questions now. Just one about yourself.
Oh, it's all right.
How would you like to be remembered in boxing?
Yeah, I said it at the beginning of the interview. I boxed on John Clark's show, and he gave me one of the best nights of my life because that's what it's about. It's about them. You know, it's my journey, but it's kind of their journey as well. Yeah. And anyone that boxes on one of my shows, imagine that, like Ryan, Jack, Ozzy, they win on my show. I take them to the next one. Then we move on. Then we hopefully go Wales next year. Then maybe go Leicester. Then come back to London and have a big, champion versus champion of that show. And we have a big, winner stays on and a fight to O2, say. Yeah. Imagine one of them win a big title and they was with me from day one. So I just that's what I want to do. Bring to them what they're bringing to me. And it's a good night to remember in boxing.
I'm sure you will, mate. And so I'll leave with this final question, which I always like to ask. You've got a little bit of a platform here. Would you like to shout anything out?
No, thank you to my sponsors. They mean the world to me. Triple Solar, they come and they sponsor the promo videos for me. Without them, the show would be at a loss. So the amount of money that I put into it comes from sponsors and me setting my tables at events to local companies. So I do want to thank Triple Solar, Buy Insulation, Synergy Direct, Extreme Engineering, DPS Decorating. I can't thank them enough. They've been on board for both shows as well. I thought they might have done one and gone, but they haven't. And shout out Scalp Nation as well. Thank you very much.
Of course. And so thank you very much, mate. I'm sure that you're going to be, like you said, keeping on doing more and more events, and hopefully when I'm about driving and everything, I'd love to come down to one of your events sometime.
Yeah, more than welcome. If you there's a train station in Brentwood, so if you want me to put your name on the door on a media pass, let me know, mate, and I'll put you on it.
Legend,
all right?
Mate. Nice one. Okay, well, thank you very much. And so if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like video.